and what we're talking about is situations where when you put an address into Google Maps, which when you're doing plan a hotspot and reserve a hotspot, it's using Google Maps database for an address. And you put it in, it finds it within there, and it has the location. But the reality is, okay, right now we're in Google Maps. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it in Google Maps, but then I'll also show you how to do it. And these are like hacks, okay? This is not built in yet into Helium Track, although it's already there. They just haven't turned it on. They're trying to come up with how to do it, because the value of using Google Maps is it's creating a valid address, okay? It's part of validating the system. We're going to be having all kinds of validation points, but let's just take an example here. Let's say that somebody puts an address in and it doesn't show up on Google Maps, okay? And that address, let's say their place is here, right here. And you can see I just clicked on it and it put a marker, and it opened up this little dialog here at the bottom, where at the bottom of this 3-line thing, it's actually got the latitude and longitude. So if I click on that, it creates a marker here, and on the left side of the screen, you can see that latitude and longitude. But more importantly, the second line down, Google Maps creates a unique code for that latitude and longitude, and you could go ahead and click copy. Okay, so now I copied it to the clipboard. I can now go back into Helium Track, okay, and I can go to plan a hotspot, or I can go to reserve a hotspot, or whatever, okay, and in that I can paste that code into here and click search, and it'll find it. And now that's validated latitude and longitude within Google Maps. Okay. What I recommend doing, though, is if you actually do have a street address that you use to receive packages, but it's not showing up in Google Maps, where it says custom title, go ahead and paste that in there so you got it into the system. But this hack will allow you to reserve a location, to put a reserved spot in a real valid location that will create the 300-meter exclusion zone around, so nobody else can do that within iHub, and to lock that in, even though between the time of now and physical deployment, it'll get tightened up to making sure the actual process is taken care of, validating the address and everything else. But this is how you lock in the real estate. You put that in here, you put the name of the person, put the information in, basically click save now, okay, to plan the hotspot, planned it, and now we've got this planned hotspot here. And, I can name it XYZ or whatever. Make sure you click Save Plan if it didn't. And you see now there's a purple dot there, okay? And if we did in the planning, it would be associated where you could edit it, put in the name, address, information, that sort of thing. And then you could send somebody an assessment, or you could, if people did this by reserve a hotspot, it would do the same thing, and then it would be an orange dot rather than a plan dot there. Okay, so again, the hack was going to Google, finding the location on the map, putting your cursor there, clicking on it till it creates a marker, grabbing that longitude link right there, which then creates a link right here, the second line down, where you can copy it and then paste it into Helium Track, and you got that done. Where you can reserve a location that is correct, geographically, latitude, longitude correct in doing it. Now, one last thing I want to show is perhaps a similar feature that you can do that's already here. It's part of Plan a Cluster. It's not intended for doing this, but you can click drop a pin, and it creates a pin that you can move to, let's say, here is where it's supposed to be. Okay, I'm just going to say test pin, whatever, not group, but on main hotspot, test pin 1, whatever. Okay, save the plan. And now it's the same thing. You've got a dot here, right? That's on the map in the right location. You could go to iHub Plan under Plan Hotspots and scroll down right here, Test Pin 1 that I just put in there. You could go to Manage, Edit, and fill in the information. And then you can use that to send an assessment, or the person could do the same thing to reserve a unit and that sort of thing. It may be harder to reserve a unit this way because you didn't put the information in by reserve a unit, but that's a hack you can do if you want to send a mining assessment to somebody where the address isn't in there. I would use the Google Map thing because then you can just paste that into reserve a unit and it'll work just as well as planning a hotspot. So that's what I wanted to share.